Hi, my name is Courtney Holland. I'm here working on assignment 9 at chapters 4 and 5 of our Understanding by Design text. So our first task was to read the quote by Ron Edmonds and reflect on it and describe this biggest single obstacle that we see to teach all children. So I feel that there are many obstacles to successfully teach all children. I actually asked a couple of my colleagues their thoughts on this question just to see what they thought, and both simultaneously answered the students. While the students themselves, they often need many different methods and treatments in the classroom, and that could be seen as an obstacle. I don't personally like to look at the students as an obstacle. However, differentiating for each student and the negative teacher attitude that comes with that is a huge obstacle. I was actually a RTI coordinator, which is response to intervention, for 2 years, and I was often met with resistance from teachers to do the intervention paperwork, much less actually do the interventions for the student. They just simply felt like they didn't have enough time or the desire to do the extra paperwork as they saw it. And I know that many teachers feel overwhelmed with all of the responsibilities that we have, and they forget to see that the most important thing that we have and that we should be focusing on is the students. Sure, no one likes to do a bunch of extra paperwork, but if it will give you as the teacher insight on how to reach just one more student, or that student that's just you're having trouble reaching, this paperwork or this intervention could help, why not take the time to invest in that student? This directly relates to the quote, and it depending on how we feel. It depends on how we feel about not giving the student our best effort. And some teachers, unfortunately, are okay with not giving their best effort to each student. But again, I feel like if we give our best effort and care about the students and care about each student, then we will be able to more successfully teach and reach all of them. Our second task after reading chapters 4 and 5 in our textbook was to reflect on a time that we were inspired to go beyond the stated learning objective. So mine is kind of a whole class that really inspired me. But I'll get into that in just a second. So I pulled in another text, the Principles to Action textbook I referred in my last video. It suggests that some classrooms are planned on a day-to-day basis. They have little attention to the broader curriculum. And I do not feel that the class I'm going to speak of today is anything along those lines, because for me, the moment that I was caught up in the magic and joy of learning, I feel like it was definitely well thought out and planned, and the teacher did a very good job of making sure that we had essential questions that we were following. I feel like she really understood these 6 facets of understanding that we've been studying. So let me tell you a little bit about this class and a specific moment that I'll discuss. So my first semester of graduate school, I took a course called Euclidean and Non-Euclidean Geometry. So we learned about your normal geometry that Euclid created, and then expanded to create or to discuss other types that other mathematicians had come up with. So during this course, there were many moments, again, throughout, but one specific was we were doing perspective drawings. So looking back on this assignment, I remember the essential question that overarched the unit was, how does mathematics relate to other subjects? So by doing the perspective drawings, we were bringing in art into geometry. So with this assignment, we were looking at how the different perspectives make things appear differently and how that related to the geometry. As our text points out in chapter 5, essential questions can help bring purpose and relevance to the topic we are studying. I feel like throughout this entire class, I could see a purpose in the different types of geometry because of the connections to the real world and the powerful essential questions that the teacher used. This leads to the connection to chapter 4, which is the 6 facets of understanding. The one I feel connected best to this class in general and this moment of engaged learning that I'll be speaking of is the application facet 3. Application is defined as the ability to use knowledge effectively in new situations and diverse realistic contexts. By learning about the perspective drawings, I was able to use the concepts of parallel lines and three-dimensional objects in situations involving spherical and hyperbolic geometry and in the real world when mapping out routes like on Google Maps or something like that. All of the topics covered in this course actually each had their own application to the real world. When we learned about spherical geometry, we were learning about the hemispheres. When we learned about taxicab geometry, it connected to the roads on the street. When we studied hyperbolic geometry, it connected to special relativity. I point all this out because throughout this class, I had many moments where I wanted to go beyond the stated learning objective. So again, I truly feel like the teacher understood and engaged all of these 6 facets of learning throughout her preparation for the course. So overall, I really enjoyed this assignment and learning about these 6 facets of understanding and more about how to write a proper essential question. I feel like I've heard of that and used them and written them, actually, but I have a clearer, better understanding of exactly how those should look. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.